should be joined by Rody in just a bit. And we're going to do a quick one. We're going to be out of here by 6:30 Eastern time. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Reminder, sign up now. You get a month free and then $35 a month after that for TrueDFS. Access to sheets of sheets, all my plays, my ownerships of each team, player, etc. And we've been building some things up. We added DFS Chan for you LOLers out there, and potentially soccer in the future as well. So great to have him on board. And yeah, we're excited. So I'm waiting for Rody to get in the chat, get in here right now. Pop on in, say hello, say what you're doing, ask any questions. But remember, we're just going until 6:30 Eastern because I've still got to build my lineups out. But I'll talk about what I'm doing as soon as we get Rody on here. We're going to talk about what we're doing. And a little bit's changed since this morning for me. So I'm actually going to take a few different shots than what I was going to. So hopefully Rody gets on in here soon because it would be nice to give out the information. So anyway, guys, let's get to it. Looks like Rody's just popping on in. So I'm going to say what's up to him. What's up, man? I went live. I'm going to have to answer the door in a second because my food order took 2 hours to get here and I haven't eaten since like 7 a.m. So how you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear you. What's going on?
Are you already live?
I had to go live already, man. We're short on time. I got till 6:30. I've got to but I've got to build out my lineups. We still don't have lineups released yet for some of the teams that I like Kansas City. So that's where I am. JJJ already asked a question, which we'll get to our plays in a second, but we're just jamming in Scherzer, right? Like, it's not a great hitter zump. It's not a great whatever. If you have great pivots, go ahead and play them. I don't have great pivots that I feel comfortable with. And the other one, if we're going to use, the argument of, well, it's a bad hitter zump and all that. Nola on the other side of that game with a huge upside, obviously, is, no Mookie in the lineup, but same thing pitcher zump wise. So I've heard people talk about being concerned about that. Anyway. All right. So what are we doing at pitcher? What are you doing at pitcher today?
I probably get locking in Scherzer. I don't know. He's pretty good. Logan Gilbert, probably he's projecting pretty good too. So we got to go there. I'll probably get to. I said earlier I like Orduzzi 7-7. Zach Gallen though for Arizona. I know we talked a little bit about him. I think earlier he's projected a little bit better. I think he's popped up a little bit more. Don't mind to go there at 7-1 if you guys want to get that a little different there. I still like Sean Manaea a little bit as well. So,
well, you've taken the words basically out of my mouth. Those are basically what I'm doing. It's going to be a combination of Scherzer, Gilbert, Manaea. There's some argument for this Ashby kid. I don't know how long he's going to pitch at all. He's 4.4K. I don't know what to do with this one. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to pitch one inning, so I think I'm just going to skip that. But Gallen, I do have some Alex Wood on FanDuel actually, just in the only lineups I tried to get different from Scherzer, Allen, and Gilbert and Wood. What I like better over there. I think is a good chance for a quality start and a very good chance for a win, which obviously factors in a little bit more over there than it does for me on DK. I'm with you. I don't love the Odorizzi thing, but I'm probably going to do some of it. I think that Tristan McKenzie still is in play, even though I understand liking the other side of that game. But Zach Gallen at pretty high ownership has got me a little bit worried. But it's not like a great matchup, but it is in San Francisco. So I don't feel great about any of my other non-Scherzer plays. I even like Gilbert a lot. I just think that the price is high. I like Manaea a lot. I think the price is high. But yeah, it's mostly going to be Gilbert, Gallen, Scherzer, Manaea for me on DraftKings. Mixing in a tiny bit of Colby Allard too. I should have mentioned him. Odorizzi, Erod. But again, it's just like filtering those other guys in with Scherzer mostly for me. If you're playing 4 lineups tonight, would you have Scherzer probably in at least 3 of them, do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, just wondering. One thing is, if Bill Miller is in fact the umpire, which we have him as, but he was supposed to be the umpire yesterday, maybe they changed it up. They wouldn't have him back to back in KC. That has me a little bit off of. We're getting into stacks now. The Yankees and KC stacks, but I do like pieces from both games, specifically Whit Merrifield, Hunter Dozier on KC, and on the The other side, I Stanton, Judge, Voit. Nothing special for me over there, but I like them as non-stacks more than as a full stack. How about you for stacks? Who are you looking at?
Mets for sure. I love the Mets. I'm getting a little concerned about the weather report that just came out in Baltimore, but I like some of the Baltimore guys like Mullins, Urias there. He's coming in a little good play. I'm thinking about getting to an Oakland stack. I might even throw a Dodgers one in. Like I know you're on McKenzie or what game was that?
No, that's against Oakland.
Nola.
I don't have a ton of McKenzie, in all fairness. I just have a little bit of it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm at Oakland. I know you like McKenzie, but I think I'm going to make an Oakland stack. I kind of like – I might even get to a Dodgers or Toronto we talked about earlier. Go with those two. So I do like my Cardinals still. They're projecting well. They're just cheap. I think I can get them in cheaply.
Yeah.
So –
the thing is, like there's gonna be people talking about J Happ, and look, he's sure. I personally like the Pirates, but and you've got this Anthony Alford kid who hasn't really had much power in his career, but at AAA this year at 13 home runs in 56 games, only about 100. What was it? 100 and I've got it called up right here because he's minimum cost. Let's see, that was 319 plate appearances. But he also stole. Is that the wrong year? That's the wrong year. Sorry. It's 226 plate appearances. He had 14 home runs, which is pretty solid. He also has a good stolen base upside, and he's 2K. Not the best matchup for stolen bases, but I would rather stack against Happ than play him. I understand that he can get there, and he's gonna point per dollar. That makes some sense. But I personally, I just feel like it feels like playing with fire, and it feels like where is the real ceiling against a team that doesn't really strike out all that much. And I don't know how, what are we hoping for? 15 points out of him? He can get to 15, I think.
That's what he's projected for. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a silly projection in my opinion on him. What is he averaging this year? About 7 fantasy points a game. I think he's had 15 fantasy points 3 times in his last 16 starts or something like that. So this would be the matchup though. So I guess you can say that, you know what I mean? As much as I like Pittsburgh, a lot of it's pricing and forced and stuff like that. Anyway, I personally think the team I'm going to try and get some of that I mentioned earlier is I do want some exposure to these Blue Jays. I don't think anyone is going to play them, and it is one of the most powerful offenses in baseball. A lot of good guys who are traditionally great against lefties, even though Vlad is better against righties, but again, he's still awesome against lefties. But guys like Springer and, Bichette, it just seems like a really, really good spot for them, and no one is going to play them. So I'm definitely a little bit interested there. The Baltimore Detroit game is one I thought I was going to get to more, but I didn't really get to much of it. So I've got my main stacks as the Mets number 1, the White Sox, who are going to be really popular, especially on FanDuel. I still really like them, even though I don't think Jax is quite as bad as he's been. I like Toronto, and those are my full stacks. Mostly, other than that, and Oakland. Other than that, I'm mini stacking the Yankees and KC. I'm mini stacking Pittsburgh and St. Louis, and I'm mini stacking Detroit and Baltimore to go with my main 4 stacks. That's the way I'm going for it. Kevin Wise says, "Is he crazy for having a Seattle stack?" It's not crazy. It's just that I have them about 25th in terms of stacks, maybe a little bit worse actually. So I have them as one of the worst stacks on the board, but it is against, Gilbert has struggled at times. It's really hard. I would never, ever make a 5-man Seattle stack on this slate because I think that what is your upside with Seattle versus the entire rest of the league? That's just where it's tough for me. How about you? Any interest in anybody in Seattle?
Oh, no. I don't have any interest in Seattle.
Yeah. If I was playing 150 tonight, I still would have 0 Seattle stacks. What's up, WW Fresh, a.k.a. Brooklyn Juice? What's up, K9 Bronco? Good to have you guys here as always. And, yeah, we talked about some stacks. So where did you end up with the Mets? Because that's the team that I really wish Baez was in the lineup. It kind of took a little bit of a hit for me. But I have the Mets basically as my main stack and my only stack on FanDuel, which I know it's weird because they actually make more sense on DraftKings. But they fit in both. They fit on in both places. You got Conforto at 2,600. McNeil 29.
Yeah, they've came up to number 2 in the stack projections on both FanDuel and DraftKings.
Thanks.
So they're definitely leading the way.
Yeah.
So the Mets are a great play. I'm all in on the Mets, and they're looking like they're low ownership too. So I don't.
Yeah.
Not many people are coming. You gotta grab your food.
No, I got it for me. I'm good. I just got distracted by it. I'm starving. I think that's the truth. And now it's terrible. You shouldn't build lineups while you're hungry. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe
some truth to it. But anyway, yeah. So I think that, like, also you mentioned the Cardinals, and I like that little like Carlson, O'Neill, Edman price range. It's hard for me to find ways to justify paying up versus the guys I want to pay up for Arenado and Goldschmidt, but those would be the guys I'd want to get in a full stack. That's the only issue I'm running into, because I would be into the Cardinals as well. And you know what? I think it actually does make sense as a 5-man stack if you want to just go all out on it, because we've seen Pittsburgh blow up, and we've seen them both leave pitchers in too long and then bring in a really bad bullpen behind those pitchers. So from every angle, it does make sense, except for it's not a great stadium to hit it, and that's pretty much the only argument against it. I'm definitely on board with some of that. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it with the number of lineups I'm playing. I think it's important not to get too spread out for those of us who multi-enter on these kind of slates, and not stick away from your core. And my core being the Mets, the Yankees one-offs, the White Sox, Oakland, and then Toronto is my weird stack. I haven't looked at the ownership projections on Toronto because I just know they're going to be unowned. But I'm just going to take a quick look because, I mean, Toronto is like never this cheap. And, I mean, between Semien, Springer, Glad, Bichette, Teoscar, Gurriel, we don't even have a lineup yet for them. These guys are not expensive, and there's just an insane amount of power in that offense. So I don't understand their run projected total. I like the over in that game in general, which actually is like the one other guy you could consider for pitching, by the way, would be Stripling. But this Angels lineup is garbage. I mean, I was at the Dodger-Angel game where Price was pitching. I know it's a lefty. But, I mean, I know Ohtani's in there tonight, and he wasn't in there in the National League. But this late Angels lineup is really a joke. I think you only have, like, other than Upton, Fletcher, Ohtani, and Stassi are the only guys who would start for another major league team. Maybe Iglesias would, but that would be for defensive purposes. So it's basically a minor league team for the most part after you get through the top four. And even the top four, the only ones that scare you are, well, Upton a little bit, but he strikes out a ton, and then Stassi and Ohtani. I'm sort of talking myself into Stripling a little bit because I don't think – I mean, at zero ownership, I don't see him as being that much worse than these other guys in such a good matchup. Doubleheader is why for what, WW Fresh? I was just curious what that was in response to. I wonder what that was about. I didn't know why. What he's referring to. Anyway, so you're talking about the stacks you liked. Are you going to combo stack the other stacks that you know what I mean? Like the Cardinals for you, would you consider them as a full stack, or are you doing that as a mini stack? How are you going about your build, sort of?
I did like him more as a full stack, but I made a nice little 3-man stack with him. So I don't know. I could sprinkle them around. I could get to a 3-man and a 5-man stack. I didn't say White Sox, but like you said, White Sox. I do like the White Sox tonight.
Wait, the Angels game? Is it? Hold on. Did I miss something? I totally missed something. Did I really goof out this much? And there was I totally missed out that it was a doubleheader. What is the matter with me? How did I miss that the Angels and Blue Jays? Guys, that's on me. That's idiotic. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I screwed that up too because earlier we were talking about playing that too. And
disregard what I said about them. So thank you. I was confused with Brooklyn Juice. Thank you. I don't know what I had in my head. I thought he was talking about the Cubs game. And I was like, yeah, of course the Cubs is a doubleheader. But I don't know why I didn't have that on my sheet. My bad on that one, guys. So ignore what I just said about Toronto. The good news is I have to build my lineups after the show, and I hadn't actually built anything yet with Toronto. But that is it's a pretty big goof on my part.
Yeah, that was probably my fault too.
I can't believe I didn't notice that. Like, I guess it's from an earlier season thing. I totally didn't. I was just not on that at all. Yeah, weird. All right. Sorry, let's get back to it, man. I didn't mean to cut everything off. That was kind of an important piece of information that I somehow eluded me.
I don't think Stripling's pitching that game either, is he?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I don't know for sure either. If it's a doubleheader, I got to double check the actual starting pitcher.
I think Matz is projected for the night game, but
I thought he played the earlier. Okay, I thought he's pitching.
We got that game all messed up. I had it messed up too.
If Stripling, by the way, Stripling on if he's the one on the doubleheader slate, that actually makes me like him a lot more. 7 innings is all you need. He's not going to pitch more than that anyway, and then you get the complete game if he does go that long. So yeah, that's what all I would say about that. All right, so let's talk about. So, do you have any interest in Pittsburgh? Am I the only one here? Anybody else have interest in Pittsburgh out there? Because I definitely like Pittsburgh.
I like Pittsburgh. I think they got some good pieces there.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
If you're not playing app, you're probably playing Pittsburgh. If everyone's playing app, play Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you've got Alford at minimum cost. You've got Reynolds. You've got Stallings, and they're like Reynolds is awesome, legitimately, and he's 4K, which is what he always is. But you can throw Brian Hayes or Park at the top at 2.1. Also, is they're just really, really cheap, and I like them as a complementary stack. I just am betting on the Hap sucking thing. It is 82 degrees in Pittsburgh, 72% humidity. So it's a good hitting environment. Appreciate that again, Brooklyn Juice. That was pretty bad on my part to miss that. I don't know how I did do this for all day and did look through it all and not pick up on that piece of information. I just got so excited. Like I was blinded by the fact that there was a missed run total. I still would bet the over, by the way, but I don't think that it's the same bet that it was. Anyway. Also, you know what threw me off about it? There was a notification that's like the MLB game of the day for between Toronto and LA. Why would they make I know it's exciting. You got Vlad and Ohtani, but so game of the day I've never seen be a 7-inning game before. Like it's always a scheduled game. You know what I mean? It's on the slate. It's never been that for me. So that's my bad for goofing that one up. All right, so thank goodness I don't have Toronto. Late-breaking weather concerns for the Mets. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at the weather because it's probably
it's becoming problematic. Mets game's a little yellow-orange. We got Detroit, Baltimore, yellow-orange. I'm very nervous because I'm going for that qualifier tonight.
Worse than yellow-orange, actually.
Which one is?
Both the Mets and Baltimore, and the second game of Milwaukee and Chicago. I'm tracking with New York. I think there's a decent shot of delay. I mean, that doesn't strike me as a postponement. That looks more like a delay because if it's going to be mid-inning, and then they're going to get it in probably. But that is definitely something worth considering. It seems and also like it looks like Baltimore and Detroit will probably be okay, but. We can check in with Roth afterwards. Like I know it's not exactly a competitor because I love Roth and he's the best in the business at the weather in my opinion. Even though he's gonna make mistakes as everybody will, but we'll get out of here just in time to check that out. But yeah, that is something that worth being considered. And again, another thank you to Brooklyn Juice. All right, what else have we got for stacks? I feel like the White Sox are the only one that ownership should really scare you, right?
Yeah, Jimenez is 20% on DK, but I mean you can play him still. You don't have to get off him. You can do different elsewhere.
Absolutely. I'm using them as fillers, just not as full. I like them as a full stack, but I think that it's going to be probably a little too owned and expensive on DK. But it's really going to be more owned on FanDuel, which is where I had more interest in. There's a good reason why they're cheap over there.
Yeah. I got him paired with the Cardinals right now, but it's giving me bad pitching. Like I'm getting that mid-tier pitchers. I can't get up to Scherzer and one of the 7K guys.
Play Happen Scherzer.
Huh?
Play Happen Scherzer.
I could. I actually put half in to see what it gets me. Gets me 9.5 left. $100 short of Gilbert. I'm like glad that didn't say 9.6.
Yeah, the problem is though, then once you're at 9.6, don't you just try to find the extra room to get up to Scherzer? I don't know. At least that's my thinking today was to do that. But it's possible that Scherzer could have a little struggle. I do like the Dodgers lefties still. Seager on FanDuel, especially at 3K, makes a lot of sense. I think the Dodgers lefties have some upside here in this matchup for sure. I do want to point out that Manaea and McKenzie, for that matter, both have an extreme hitters umpire, which is really it's really good for the Oakland lineup because McKenzie leads the league in walk rate, and that's what you want. You want guys who walk a lot of guys when you're stacking against them because it keeps the offense moving and keeps the lineup going. Guys hitting with runners on base all the time. So that's something that's really interesting. I think it's interesting that WWE Fresh, he's bringing up the the Lynch thing. I think that is a really it's such a good large field play. No one is going to play Lynch. Bill Miller is the umpire. We've seen Lynch, he was awful at the very beginning, but since he's moved to the full-time starter, he's had to face the White Sox and Toronto in his last 2 games. He still went 5 and 6 innings in each of those games, put up 23 fantasy points his last time out, 27 against Detroit 3 games ago. He pitched 8 innings against them, 8 shutout innings, and that's pretty he's going to have a total of 4 runs in his last 16 innings. So I can completely get behind a long shot weird Lynch play, even though at the same time I do like the Yankees side of that better. The better play in the game might be Nestor Cortez, although I just can't bring myself to do it. The Royals don't strike out enough of him, he's too expensive. If he was in the half price range, I'd be playing him, but I can't do it at 8,500. And just in terms of mentioning umpires real quick, you have the extreme pitchers umpire in Baltimore, which really we're not playing the pitcher. I think there's an argument for Mize if that game was going to play fully clean, to be honest. And then the extreme pitchers umpire in KC. Otherwise, you have the extreme hitter is in Cleveland, which is the Cleveland-Oakland game. And then you've got the extreme hitters in the Dodgers and Philly game. So it's a weird spot. Everything is sort of backwards with that stuff. But it is true. The Yankees will chase. There's strikeouts in that lineup. They also have guys who crush left-handed pitching, but it's not really going to be 0.25%. Those numbers are just DraftKings, RotoGrinders' way of trying to make it all even out numbers-wise. And by the way, the ownership projections have been complete trash by most all sites that I've been on lately. I haven't seen anybody close on anything in a while, by the way. You had guys yesterday who I understand that there was rain worries and everything, but even up to lock, guys who were projected to be 1-2% owned were 25% owned. So it was it wasn't even a way to get a feel for it. Anyway. All right. So we're going to get out of here in 5 minutes. What is your, do you have any hot takes of the day? Any specific things other than what we've talked about so far?
Ooh, hot take of the day.
I'm going to have to get on.
I don't know. Earlier, that Tampa Bay Boston game. I don't know. There's something it feels fishy on that game.
Tampa Bay, Boston.
I like the Boston side of that, but we talked about some of the cheap bats on the Rays earlier. Nelson Cruz, a little bit down. A lot of these guys were over 5K. Now they're dropping the 4Ks, so they're coming down a little bit. But I don't know. You can get Cruz as a nice little one-off for a homer there. I don't know. I don't like it. It's just odd. So that might be my hot take.
I like that.
Cruz, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that actually. Carnes asked me an interesting question: is VR of interest? I think VR is a better play. This is the way I play DFS, and it doesn't always work out. He's not as good as productive a hitter, obviously, as Jeff McNeil. He has a ton more power than Jeff McNeil does. I'm specifically playing VR over a lot of these other Mets because he has more power. So that would be, I guess, the best way I can answer that question. Yes, I think VR is a very good tournament play. It's weird because I prefer VR and I'm looking at the Mets lineup here. Let me just pull it up real quick. I don't care about a guy hitting 7th if I'm going to be fully stacking the team. You're the same page on that, right?
Yeah.
Especially if they're cheap, and he's cheap on FanDuel. He's not as cheap on DraftKings, but he's still cheap enough. But if you're fully stacking, playing a 7th hitter is no big deal. That's really the only thing changing between him and these other guys. The truth is his median projection may not be the same. Actually, his median projection is pretty close to those guys anyway. But his overall upside is definitely higher with the stolen base and power combination over a guy like Nimmo, who has absolutely zero power and has hit 2 home runs in 280 at bats, and you've got VR who's hit 12 and 300, so I just would I prefer VR. I'd rather take the home run guy personally. That's just where I'm at there. But I am, go ahead.
Detroit, Boston delayed. Oh, Baltimore. Okay. Yeah. Baltimore, Detroit delayed.
No, Tigers and Orioles are delayed.
Yeah. He put the wrong team. He just put the wrong team. In chat.
Yeah, not Boston. And look, I have this Alford kid probably way too much today.
I might make a lineup with J.A. Happen, man.
Go ahead. No, look, this is the kind of slate, and it's the kind of matchup where you can do it. It's just not what I'm going the other way in that game personally.
I like that way too,
Yeah. Top Mets on FanDuel for me. Well, top Met is by far on any site is going to be Pete Alonso, followed by Conforto, followed by Dominic Smith. And then you get into the McNeil VR conversation. That's where I'm at. How about if you had to pick any Mets, how would you pick? Would it be basically the same, or would you include JD Davis or something else?
I end up getting a build with JD Davis in it. I think just position. But you can move those guys around. I like Conforto probably a lot. Smith, and Alonso. And the last pieces are like Jeff McNeil and JD Davis is my 5-man, I think. You can kind of switch that around.
I think he was asking about FanDuel, and I think on FanDuel.
FanDuel, 4-man.
Yeah. I think on FanDuel.
Yeah, okay. FanDuel.
FanDuel, I think that JD Davis is not quite as strong. Yeah. I do have JD Davis in some of my FanDuel lineups in complete transparency, but I don't love it as much. Because I think that he's more expensive over. I mean, you can just play Moncada is obviously going to be popular, but at the same price. Cabrian Hayes is right there. JD Davis, another one he's got some power, but not an immense amount of power that you need to try and target in on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like McNeil over there. Yeah, there's a lot of cheap guys over there for those guys. Conforto's 2.6. I like him for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get on out of here because I would love to hear the weather update, and I'm sure everybody else would as well. Guys, again, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Rody, great job today. People seem to really like the video. Thanks for coming on here live as well. Really appreciate it. These 15-game slates are a little stressful. I'm bouncing all over.
This is stressful.
All right, let's get it tonight, guys. Let's see some screenshots.
We gotta get some screenshots. I want a big one.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I said, let's get some screenshots. I want a big one. Yeah, that's right. Let's
do it. All right, you win this seat. One of us win the 100K from the 111, then somebody else win the 11, and then we could just have a whole true DFS night. It would be really, really cool. Anyway, guys, appreciate everything. For Rody, for everyone at True DFS, I'm Bobby saying good luck out there, and we will hopefully see you at the top of the leaderboards tonight. Good luck, all.
Let's go.